Hey guys, what's up, Roman here from Tech Guides, and as requested by many of you in my FPS guide, in this video I will go over the different audio settings in Modern Warfare Warzone to help you find the best audio mix to better hear enemy footsteps. Now, since all of you have vastly different audio devices, I simply provide samples of different audio mixes in various environments and highlight the best audio mix from my perspective. However, you are obviously very much invited to form your own opinion based on these samples. Also, you can find timestamps to each audio test in the description below. But first, I'd like to thank Zyro for sponsoring today's video. With Zyro, you can get a professional-looking website up and running in under an hour. They provide gorgeous site templates, super fast page loading times, and a free SSL certificate for each site. Go to Zyro.com or click on the link in the description and get 30% off all website builder plans using coupon code TechGuides upon checkout. Alright, the first test that I performed was simply trying to figure out at which distance I was finally able to hear an enemy running towards me on the road. Now, at the top of the screen I show the audio mix that I've selected as well as my estimate at which distance I could finally hear the enemy. Have a listen. Note that the in-game volume was identical for each of these clips. Short remark, I did retest this with having loudness equalization enabled in Windows, and frankly the only thing that happened was that all of the different audio mixes became pretty much identical, so you might as well stick to studio reference if you want to have loudness equalization enabled in Windows, but honestly I didn't see an improvement in terms of hearing enemies earlier than without having loudness equalization enabled. And honestly, loudness equalization just makes all of the different sounds sound equally loud and therefore make it much harder to actually hear enemy footsteps in my opinion. Similarly, enabling headphone virtualization didn't allow me to hear enemy footsteps earlier. Now in the next sample, I'm gonna try and figure out what the maximum audible distance is when an enemy is running towards me on terrain. Alright, so in summary, we can see that studio reference is unsurprisingly the worst performing, and on the other hand, to my very surprise, dynamic home theater actually provides the best numbers in terms of hearing enemy footsteps as early as possible. However, before you're gonna close down this video and set up your game in dynamic home theater, you need to be aware that you should also consider the ambient noise that each of these different audio mixes introduces in your game. So with these next samples, you can get an impression of the ambient noise levels of each audio mix. Note that I've normalized the audio for each mix to give a fair comparison, and I provide the maximum loudness of each mix at the top. So we're looking for the lowest possible ambient noise volumes, while at the same time being least obstructive. In my opinion, home theater provided the best mix. Next, let's have a look at the maximum footstep loudness that we get from the same position. So based on these results, interestingly, the biggest difference between the ambient noise levels as well as the footsteps is found with studio reference. However, you have to be aware that studio reference also has the lowest maximum loudness of all of the different sound mixes, and therefore you have to pump up your Windows volumes much more in order to hear footsteps with this mix. So in my opinion, what you have to look for here is an audio mix that has a good balance between having low ambient noise volumes and at the same time high footstep loudnesses. So when listening back on those normalized examples, I personally prefer home theater. Now finally, I'd like to give you also some samples of enemy footsteps indoors. Now honestly, from these normalized samples, it's super difficult to tell much of a difference between the various audio mixes. However, when looking at the absolute loudness, then we find that boost low is the highest, followed by home theater. Now with this knowledge, let's finally hop into the game and set up our audio settings. First of all, you want to go to the General tab and make sure that Skip Introduction Movie is enabled, in order to not getting blasted by the Modern Warfare theme each time you load the game. Then in the Audio tab, I would either recommend Home Theater under Audio Mix, or Boost Low. Set the master volume to 100 and music to 0. You definitely don't want to get surprised by an enemy sneaking up on you just because the game was blasting the end game music in your ears. Dialogue volume I also like to keep low, something like 15 is more than good enough. And finally, effects you definitely want to set at 100. This is basically enemy and friendly gunfire, grenades, footsteps, end of round timers, or any other sound that you can imagine that the game is playing. The Juggernaut music I have disabled, and hit markers I set to Modern Warfare. In terms of voice chat settings, I think this is very personal, so I don't feel the need to give you any recommendations here. Finally, something very interesting that I noticed while testing was that friendly footsteps were much lower in terms of loudness compared to enemy footsteps. Have a listen. Also, this is what it sounds like when an enemy player is activating the Dead Silence field upgrade. So as you can hear, there is absolutely no way that you can hear someone who is currently running the Dead Silence field upgrade in Modern Warfare. Now, something else that I wanted to test was how far away you can actually see an enemy firing an unsuppressed weapon in Warzone on the map. That's actually quite different from the original game, where you do not show up when you fire an unsuppressed weapon. And the answer is that you can see an enemy firing an unsuppressed weapon, even a pistol, up to a distance of 254 meters. And with that, I'd like to thank again the sponsor of today's video, Zyro. Getting a stunning and extremely fast loading website up and running was never as easy or affordable. Simply sign up, select one of the many beautifully crafted templates, enter your brand name, logo, and information, and just hit publish. You can customize any aspect of your website by simply dragging and dropping different elements and changing their appearance in the intuitive page builder. Also, if you're in a pinch and don't have fitting images, then you can access over 1 million high-quality stock photos from Unsplash directly within the editor. To get you started even faster, Zyro provides a free subdomain and an SSL certificate for each site. Additionally, they provide free and unlimited access to a fully fledged logo maker, as well as AI writer and AI heatmap analyzer for your website. So if you finally want to get that site of yours up and running, then go to Zyro.com or click on the link in the description and use coupon code TechGuides to get 30% off all website builder plans. But that's it for today's video, guys. I hope those audio settings will help many of you to those GGs in COD Warzone. And if they did, then hit that like button. If you have any further questions, then don't hesitate to comment below and smash subscribe if you want to see more awesome videos like this. Thank you for your amazing support on these videos, I truly appreciate it. Have a great day, stay safe, and until the next one. Come on, give me the gas mask. This game is broken. I can't pick up the gas mask. I'm dead. Somebody just drove me over.
Oh my god. Where this guy came from?
That is the worst way to die. Did we all die there?
Yeah. He ran over too.
Yeah, he ran me over too.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even realize I was in the match already. I thought I was spectating.